What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and we have an interesting one today because according to former head coach Eric Mangini, he strongly believes that Aaron Rodgers is trying to force his way out of New York in kind of a roundabout way, right? So he's spoken on this on multiple occasions, at least twice, one on the FS1 show and then one on the First Things First with Colin Cowherd. So this is something I feel like he's relatively passionate about. And it's an interesting introspective because there was also the rumors earlier, a month plus ago that Eric Mangini may be interested in the returning to head coach for the New York Jets, right? Much like your Rex Ryans of the world. So from this perspective, I'm kind of taking it as he's actually looking through the eyes of if he's in an interview, if he has to discuss the topic of Aaron Rodgers, here's what his thought process is, and here's how he may be trying to deliver his understanding of the situation to ownership, right? So he mentions you'd like to keep Aaron because you don't want to deal with that salary cap hit, but Aaron's doing everything he can to get cut. The fact that Aaron brought up that I've never been cut by a teenager, I've never been released by a teenager, that's a direct shot at ownership. That's legitimizing everything that's been said in that organization. That's making fun of how dysfunctional it is. As soon as he said that, in my mind, he said he wants out. Now, there's two situations or two different prisms to view this through, right? The first one is Aaron Rodgers speaking to the media is always kind of odd, and just bear with me with this comparison. In a lot of ways, he kind of reminds me of Drake when I'm listening to him speak, right? When Drake is on a song, topically, there may be nothing related to beef, insults needed, etc., right? But you end up having some of those innuendos, some of those metaphors where you can tie it to who potentially may be a target there, right? And again, large 30,000 foot view wise, the song has nothing to do with dissing anybody, but there's still a way to fit it in. Aaron Rodgers in the media feels a lot like the same way, where he could be talking to a friend or he could just be talking to a media member, NFL insider, whoever it may be. And there ends up being him kind of having this sidebar, this asterisk to the conversation where he drops a metaphor or he alludes to something that ends up being a diss to whoever else, right? Another player, former organization, whatever that ends up looking like, right? Coach, etc. So I take it from that standpoint where on that side, you either have that this truly is a shot, right? He has been pretty critical. So even if you don't want to call it a shot and you want to call it more critiques of Aaron Rodgers, it does put him in more of a negative light in which he's already kind of feeling like he's on the outside looking in. And then on the other side, you can't just say, well, he's sometimes bereft of common sense. I feel like I didn't use that right, but nonetheless, you guys know what I'm saying. It feels like he doesn't always understand or know how to read the room per se. And so maybe it really was him just trying to add some levity to the situation. Context wise, he was on the Pat McAfee show, I believe, when those comments originated, and, friend to friend, things get said. They can get taken out of context from people who aren't, within that particular relationship. However, though, when I look at this, I think there is maybe some truth to Eric Mangini's thought process here. I know it's up in the air. Aaron Rodgers has already mentioned he wants to take a pay cut, or he's willing to take a pay cut. What does that look like, etc.? He's mentioned it might take a month or more for him to decide if he even wants to come back and play. And then, of course, he's pointed to the fact that the New York Jets would be his first option. He's, fought for Jeff Ulbrich, continuing to be his coach, of course, if he can also retain his status as the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, or just remain to the team, right? I don't think there's a situation where we see him on the roster and he's in a backup situation. But needless to say, on the flip side, again, you're talking about ownership. And when you just think about the situation from this context, you have the article coming out. You can think from Woody Johnson's standpoint that this is definitely more of a slanderous piece, right? The timing of it sucks with us being able to look for some early general manager candidates. Of course, we're waiting for a lot of the high tier head coach candidates that are coming out, but this would put a damper on a lot of those potential relationships being able to get built fostered and hopefully leading to signing your Ben Johnsons or your Mike Vrabels or whoever's at the top of your list. And then, of course, it's demoralizing as well when you talk about particular pieces of the hit piece, like them commenting about Woody Johnson's kids and what power or respects that they're making decisions or maybe influencing decisions within the organization. And kids just happen to be one of those topics that you don't discuss with people, right? When it comes to the negativity side of things in a public setting. And so, Aaron Rodgers commenting on that doesn't look great whatsoever. Now, I also think there are situations where he would outright come out and say, I'd rather move on to another team. But you never know. Aaron Rodgers, very enigmatic personality. So it could be New York Jets till he die today. Tomorrow, it could be, people, I don't know, fawning over the comments that he made with Tennessee, right? How it's such a great state, etc. And now we think that there's a potential interest with him wanting to join the Titans, right? So who knows how that actually will work out, how that'll play out. But all I can say is, objectively looking at this situation, Aaron Rodgers has effectively backed himself into a corner where you have Garrett Wilson beef with New York Jets. Doesn't necessarily have much to pertain to with Aaron Rodgers. You have Garrett Wilson's beef with Aaron Rodgers, a direct issue. And then you have Aaron Rodgers' potential issues with ownership now. Aaron Rodgers' issues with former head coaches like Robert Saleh, Matt LaFleur, etc. So you can kind of see where he strained a lot of relationships. And ultimately, it just comes down to the expectations and the failure to meet those. When you're a 4-11 team currently, or 4-12, whatever we're currently looking at here. But when you only have 4 wins on the season, and we were talking about Super Bowl contending type roster expectations, you have to literally have done effectively everything perfect, as much as humanly possible, to really give yourself a fighting chance to be looked at in a positive light, for one, and two, when it comes to situations like these and you're being questioned, getting that benefit of the doubt. So we'll see how this all pans out. Maybe it's ultimately nothing, but I could definitely end up seeing some pieces in the future coming out about exactly how this relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets soured, and just more drama that nobody's really going to care about once we get this new regime in place, ideally. And then maybe it depends on if Aaron Rodgers is still on the roster then or not. But let me know what you guys think. Does this actually feel like not just a critique, but Aaron Rodgers actually shooting at New York Jets ownership and potentially trying to, strong arm his way out? Or is this really just nothing? And, media's bored and they got to find something to try to comment about. I'll catch you guys again. Peace.